Hey, Ken, Mike Catalana in Rochester. With all the study you guys do on tendencies and everything during a regular year, how much different from your experience in the league is it week two and beyond, as opposed to week number one when teams have had the whole off season to kind of make their plans?
I definitely think every game's different. I think teams go in and some teams are kind of a game plan type team and adjust based off of the team they're playing, and some teams are a do what they do type team and have their philosophy that they're just going to stick to. But every team, goes through a week and throws in wrinkles and different looks and those types of things. So I think it varies week to week, but definitely I think there's some merit to week one. You've had the off season to look at some things, and those first few weeks of the season, you're trying some new stuff. But I definitely think though, you're right, as the season gets going, it's teams settle in a little bit.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Hey, Ken, John Worrell.
Hey,
How you doing? Sorry
good.
there's always some kind of a mix up here.
No worries.
But just I wanted to dig into, I guess, to pardon the pun, into the chemistry that Stefon and Josh have continued to develop, and just how was that by design or just by whatever that Josh got Diggs involved early and often?
No, I think that's just kind of the flow of the game and where the read takes him. I think that's the important part about quarterback play. And the thing Josh does really well is, when we call plays, he's gonna make decisions based off of what he's seeing and react off of that more so than predetermine and make his mind up. So I definitely think a lot of that has to do with just, hey, we're calling these things, and then we're going to trust our guys to go out and execute, and trust Josh to make a decision based off of what he's seeing.
What do you make of the continuing developing chemistry between those two? I mean, there are some tight windows that Josh threw into to get to get to Stefon, and just, I guess, the confidence those two have in each other.
I definitely think he's got a lot of confidence in Steph. I think, and Steph's earned that, and I think you see that with a lot of guys on our offense that Josh has building confidence in with these guys and trust them to make plays. And I think that's the biggest thing we try to do is get our playmakers the ball in space and let them make plays for us and not predetermine stuff and trust our eyes, trust what we see at quarterback. And I think he's doing a good job of that. And I think you see that chemistry. It started year one when Steph got here and it's just built more and more through reps and through communication and seeing things. And I think that's a big thing. I think just the communication that those guys have of what'd you see, what were you thinking, so that now when they see similar looks again, they know how to react, they know how to adjust.
And I'm sorry, I've got one more. Just the aggressive approach that you guys took in attacking Jalen Ramsey, was that maybe a message to the league that you're not afraid of anybody when it comes to this offense?
I wouldn't say a message. I just think we try to go out and execute whoever's across from us. I think that's the biggest thing is, we just focus on us, our execution. And if we do that, then usually things take care of themselves. Obviously, we try to game plan based off of what we're seeing as coaches, and then we trust our guys to go out and execute.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ken, it's Catherine. I know it's been a few days, and obviously we saw what y'all did in that second half, but just really big picture, was wondering how you felt this first game went from your standpoint, just what your takeaways were.
Yeah, it felt good. I felt like we were able to get in a rhythm, even when things weren't necessarily going perfect. I felt like it was still a good rhythm, getting in and out of the huddle, getting the calls into Josh, and them having good tempo in and out and giving us enough time for the line of scrimmage. And I think that's important. And you kind of get in a rhythm as a play caller. And I think your offense kind of gets into a rhythm when you could do those types of things. And I thought that was very good. I thought that overall, the communication, the sideline substitutions and those different things were very clean. And that's important. I think that's important to kind of get into a flow of the game through clean play and execution.
And then I know you've known Isaiah McKenzie for a while. Would you say, like, him even entering training camp this year, was there any notable difference in his confidence, or could you tell anything there?
No, I think Isaiah is always Isaiah. I think that's the thing I love about him. No matter what's going on, he doesn't change. He's the same guy day in, day out. Tremendous energy, tremendous, skill on the field. Smart, can play a lot of different things for us. And I think that's the best part about Isaiah is exactly what you're getting because he's an energy giver, a positive guy all the time, no matter what the situation is. And that's what I love about him.
Sweet. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ken, Sal Mayorano over in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you could speak a little bit about the offense, the efficiency of the offensive line in that game. I mean, you were facing a huge task there, and it just seemed like watching the game, you guys handled that very well. Could you speak to that, please?
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I feel like, or we felt like going into the game that we had to do a good job up front in order for us to give us a chance to win that game. I mean, obviously they're extremely talented, have one of the best players in the league up front, and have a lot of talent all around that group. And then just the different things that they do schematically pose problems from a protection standpoint. So we knew that those guys we're going to have to play well up front. And they really stepped up to the challenge, not only in the pass game, but the run game. I was really excited with how they played, that chemistry of kind of gelling together. And you really kind of saw that, I felt like, in the way they played. And that's going to be a consistent theme throughout the year. We got to play well up front and protect Josh and run the ball and do those different types of things in order for us to have success. So a lot of respect for the job they did against a extremely good defensive front. And it's going to be the same type of thing this week. Another great challenge for them.
I'm going to say you go from Aaron Donald to Jeffrey Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that guy's a game record too. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I think obviously they're different styles of play, but pose just as big of a problem. Jeffrey Simmons does a great job up front for them. Creates a lot of issues matchup wise and from a protection standpoint, from a run game standpoint. So it's a big challenge for us this week facing a guy like that. But then also, again, they've done a great job of surrounding him with guys that they can also win. So it's not just him up front. They've got a lot of talent across the board on that defense that poses a lot of problems to offenses.
And last thing for me real quick, the biggest difference, if you could pinpoint between how Kromer is coaching it and what they're doing, as opposed to what you've had since you've been there before, what is Kromer doing that may be a little bit different?
I think we try to keep things as similar for the guys as possible. And I think that's been the great part about Kromer is like, he's been able to adjust to things that we do while putting his spin on things as well. So I think that's been a good blend for us, whether it's, some technique things that he believes in, whether it's some protection adjustments or different things that he believes in that incorporate well into what we do without reinventing the wheel of kind of how our offense was run.
Great. Thanks, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ken, I was curious, what do you feel like works so well on third down? How are you able to convert 90%? And then how can you use that going forward so it's not like just a one-time like amazing stat? Like, how do you make that, be consistent on third down in that way?
Well, I think the main thing obviously is just execution. We were able to protect well up front and we're really able to execute what we were calling. And guys were doing a great job in terms of running routes, being there when they need to be there for Josh, in terms of spacing, in terms of in and out of cuts, and Josh making good decisions. And then we were able to do some things on the sideline too, to kind of tweak some things, adjust based off of kind of how they were playing. So we went into the game with some things that we felt like were going to be effective. But then I think the coaches and especially the players on the sideline communicating to coaches were able to do a good job adjusting and tweaking some things based off of what they were seeing out there to continue to have some success.
And then a couple guys mentioned that like at halftime you came down and kind of were very encouraging and like, let's not get bogged down in the mistakes and all that. Was there like a specific message you came into halftime wanting to kind of convey to those guys?
I really felt like at half we were doing a lot of good things. It's just the thing that obviously derailed us was the the turnovers, and that really hurt us on some drives, and we really felt like we were in a rhythm, and those things kind of derailed some things. So just felt like there was no need to lose our mind or anything like that. It's just, go out, make the appropriate adjustments. And I mean, these guys are pros. They're a group of pros who understand that execution, when you execute, it brings energy. And I think that's the biggest thing is just we weren't quite executing at the level we were capable of in certain situations. So if we were able to fix those things, and then that was really going to help us in the second half.
And then I have a completely unrelated question.
No problem.
I was curious, all the way back in your Carolina days, when you first met Sean, when you guys, I know you working in opposite areas, but when you got to know him first and all of that, do you feel like he had characteristics back then that you would have thought would have made him a compelling head coach? And I guess how much have you kind of seen him change in the decade or so you've known him?
I really felt like the way he prepared, not for the opportunity to be a head coach, but as a defense coordinator, you could tell he was gonna do a great job as a head coach. He's a tremendous leader, extremely organized, detailed, and I think those are all the qualities that typically you're looking for in a head coach. And he's really kind of just stepped in the role, and I think felt really comfortable. And then, like any coach, whether it's a head coach, position coach, coordinator, you learn from experiences. You try to come in as prepared as possible with everything you do, but you learn from experience. And I think the ones who are able to have good success for long periods of time, they learn from those things and adjust. And I think Sean's done a great job of that throughout his time here, of learning from good things and learning from mistakes that we've made as a team, as an organization, and adjust and make sure we're able to learn from those things and move on.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Ken. Obviously, maybe one of the biggest stories yesterday, Brian Dable's debut in New York. I was curious, somebody is ultra familiar with him. What were your impressions of his job in his first game, and maybe the locker room video that came out after the game?
Neither one surprised me, to be honest with you, with Noah Daves. I mean, he's awesome. He's energy. He's loves his players, and I think you saw that coming out at the end of the game there. And I thought he did a great job. Unfortunately, I don't pay for the Sunday ticket package or anything like that, so I was only able to just follow the game cast on my phone or whatever. So I didn't get it locally, but just being able to watch the film and everything, I mean, it looked like a Brian Daboll coach team with playing fast, playing physical, and really doing some good things offensively.
And I was curious your assessment. You were obviously in Joe Brady's spot the last few years. I mean, it being down there, when the bullets are flying. What did you think of his first game in that role and how he worked with Josh?
I thought he did a great job. Biggest key down there is twofold: just communication and understanding that we want to stay steady and not get up and down, whether things are going really well or things aren't going well. Being that steady force on the sideline for Josh and those guys, I think is extremely critical for that position in that role. And I really felt like Joe did a great job of that. Did a great job communicating with me in the box about what Josh was seeing, what we were seeing on the sidelines, and I thought he did a really, really good job.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
Jay with the Buffalo News. I may have, I'm sorry if you were asked this, but in regards to the running of Josh and the number of hits that he took the other night, what is your concern level with that? And if there is a concern, how do you do your best to try to limit that? I'm thinking particularly at the end of the game with about 6 minutes left, he's still kind of running when score-wise the game is in hand. How do you maybe try to avoid some of those hits?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think what we try to do is just making sure that we're balanced in terms of, obviously what we're calling and how we're doing it. There's certain things, whether it's a movement play or a scramble play, where Josh is going to be Josh, and he's going to use his legs and do some things, and he's got to do a good job making sure he's protecting himself at the end of the runs, getting down, and knowing the times where you've got to go all out and do the things to kind of get a first or get in the end zone, and know the times when you got to get down and protect yourself. And I think we got to do a good job talking with him about that. And he does a good job of taking ownership of that. So I think you see that throughout the course of years that he's been here. He's done a good job throughout games getting down and stuff. So there's things we talked to him about with regards to those things. And then obviously it's being smart about the quarterback run game and stuff like that, which honestly, we didn't call too many of them this past game. It was more just Josh making plays and being a guy who provides an extra dimension that defenses have to account for, whether it's a drop back pass or a naked or something like that.
Were you concerned with the level of hits that he took, or did you feel like it was coming out after you reviewed the game? What did you think about that?
Yeah, after watching the game, I didn't think he took any big shots, which is obviously a factor for us in terms of how he runs. But I think, watching it, I think there's times where we just tell him, hey, in this situation, make sure you're getting down and making sure you're not taking any extra hits.
Okay. And then in regards to the running game with Zach and James both losing fumbles, how do you balance that, you risk winning football games when you're careless with the football versus still showing confidence in them and giving them, showing them that you've got faith in them, giving them, additional opportunities?
Yeah, I think those guys know that I've got a lot of trust in them, and I really believe in those guys. I love our running back room with all the guys that we got in there. So I got a lot of trust that they're going to make the necessary adjustments to make sure, the ball is obviously critically important in this league, and you can't turn the ball over. So I think they understand that, and they've watched the tape and understand kind of what the issues were, and whether it's, going to the ground or situationally and those types of things to make sure to make those corrections, because they're going to be in there. We're going to give them the ball. I've got zero hesitation to give Zach, Motor, James, any of those guys the ball, no matter what the situation is. If the game's on the line, if it's the first quarter, if it's the third quarter, I've got a lot of faith in those guys.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
Hi, Ken. Adam Benini.
Hey.
Jay kind of hit the issue that I was going to hit with Josh in terms of the run game. I would follow up. Brandon Bean said something to me during the course of the offseason, just lastly on that issue. He talked about how, and where you were in the quarterback room the whole time, I'm just interested in your overall take on this. From the time early in Josh's career and what we've seen him do, I think it was after the Tampa game last year where Brandon acknowledged there was a greater level of cohesion in terms of how the run plays were called, how Josh was making those decisions, and kind of everyone sort of got on the same page to a greater extent. Did you necessarily see it that way? And how are you trying to incorporate that into this season in terms of exposing Josh to hits relative to the weapon that he is on the ground for your offense?
Well, I think last year those conversations were more so between, Dave's and probably Sean and Brandon. So I wasn't privy to a lot of those conversations. So, I can't really comment on some of those things last year. The only thing I'd say this year is obviously, he's going to, just like I said, he's going to do things that are Josh type things, whether it's a drop back pass or a naked and those types of things. So, we just got to make sure we're communicating with him of situationally about when to get down, when to go for it, and those situations, but making sure that we're doing our best to keep him healthy, keep him going, and keep him full speed, and I think that's important. And through that, making sure every run play we're calling isn't a zone read, isn't a quarterback run. Honestly, we didn't call a ton of them last game. It just the way the game unfolded with him scrambling and those types of things is kind of what makes Josh who he is and what makes him a special type of player. So we trust him. I got a lot of faith in him, and I know we all do. And it's just, again, it's a communication of situationally knowing what's going on.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Ken.
No problem.
That's all the questions we have for today. Thanks, Ken.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, guys.